Hey, what's going on, guys? You find that you and your spouse are incompatible. What do? This is a problem that many people find themselves in. So let's talk about this. First, let's start with how did we get here in the first place? So, before marriage, likely what happened is that we were caught in we only had a superficial understanding of the other person. We really didn't get to know them in as much depth as we should have before we got married. Also, we may have been caught up in an in love phase, right? You might have been flooded with feelings of being in love with this person, and you just kind of brushed off some of the other glaring issues that may have showed themselves. So you hear people say a lot of times, well, I like his personality and he likes my personality, and that should be good enough. When in fact, that's really not good enough to sustain a marriage. It's good to maybe you'll have fun together in the short term, but just liking someone's personality on a surface level isn't enough to sustain a long-term marriage, right? So beforehand, the best thing for us to do is find someone with similar interests, not the exact same interests, but at least similar interests and values, so that you can get along a little bit better. Now, after you get married, if you and your spouse feel that you are incompatible, or maybe it's just you by yourself, you feel that you are incompatible with your spouse, there are several things you can do. Number one is try and combine interests. We need to always understand that in marriage, there's always an alternative. You just have to open your eyes and try and find it. So let's say, for example, one person loves movies. They're just movie buffs. They know about all the new movies coming out. They have to go and see all the good ones that are going to come out and everything, right? So that person married someone who doesn't really care to watch movies at all, right? He or she would rather, read a book. They'd rather go out hiking. Maybe they go and do something else besides watching a movie. So how do we combine interests in this case? Well, maybe you could watch a documentary. And anyone who says that documentaries are all boring, you just haven't seen a good one yet. There are plenty of good ones. I'll link a couple in the description just so you have some. But that's one possible way to combine interests. It doesn't have to be a documentary, but I'm just trying to give you ideas on just learn the fact that just trying to drive the point home that there's always an alternative. Also, you can find new interests together. Maybe, if neither of you watches movies, maybe you could start watching movies together. If neither of you goes hiking or playing any kind of sports or doing any other sort of outdoorsy thing, maybe you could pick that up. Going for a walk in the park every now and then. Maybe that's something that you both would like to enjoy together. You never know until you try. So that's something you can also do, is to find new interests that you can both enjoy together. Also, you could just stop being stubborn and try some of what your spouse likes. I had a friend a few years ago who he and his wife were going to go to Hawaii. And we asked him about the trip and everything, and he didn't really seem like he wanted to go. He was kind of like, down about it, like, man, I got to spend all this money and go here, and I'm not really very into it, and it's just because she wants to go. And so the next week, he took a week off. The next week, he came back, and we asked him about it. He said, oh, man, Hawaii was so great. We saw all these different climates. I got to touch lava. I went close up, all the way up to a volcano, and, man, it was way more fun than I thought it would be. You see, so all you have to do is just try. Just because you think you don't like something, that doesn't mean you actually won't like it. Try it out. Maybe you'll actually end up liking it. So, in summary, beforehand, try and find someone with similar interests and similar values to you. They don't have to be the exact same, but they should be similar. And then after marriage, you can find a way to combine interests. You can, find new interests for both of you to enjoy together. And you could just stop being stubborn and try some of what your spouse likes to do. Brother Q signing out. Assalamu alaikum.